This is One on One. Welcome to a very special edition to One on One. I'm Steve Adubato. It is my honor and my pleasure to introduce someone who I have admired for many, many years. He is Erice LeGrand, and a former player at Rutgers football.
Yep.
He's a motivational speaker, and has impacted the lives of many for the past many years. We are taping this particular edition of One on One the morning after the Denver Broncos actually just won the Super Bowl. You're a big Broncos fan?
Huge Broncos fan since I was about 7, 8 years old. I've been watching them, and I got to see the Super Bowl when I was younger. But it's nothing like when you finally get older and understand what's actually going on out there. And I'll tell you what, the feeling is amazing. I felt like I was playing yesterday.
Well, back in the day, well, it's not, I can't say back in the day because you were number 52, Rutgers, Scarlet Knights. You love defense, right?
Love defense.
So you appreciated the Super Bowl when the defense was swarming for them. What did you say you did right after the Super Bowl when Peyton Manning was saying he was going to have what?
He was going to have a Budweiser, so I made sure I had one too in honor of Peyton Manning and the whole Broncos squad.
Just out of respect, right?
I had to do it out of respect.
Of course you did. Eric, a lot of people do know that back in the fall of 2010, the injury that happened to you in a game against Army changed your life and in ways that you could never have imagined. You've been asked this a lot of times, but for those who don't know, by the way, do you remember it?
I remember it fully. It was October 16, 2010. There was 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. We had just tied the game up, 17-17. I'm running down the field to make a big play for the team. I want to, get everyone motivated so we get our defense out there, get the ball back to our offense and score and win the game. But I was facing a double team the whole game. So as soon as the ball was kicked off, I had 2 guys come right at me. I knew that, though, because I've been doing it all game so far. And I was able to get right through them. So I had a good 30, 40-yard head start at the guy. So I knew it was going to be a big collision after I got through those 2 guys. And I'm running down the field, and I'm saying to myself, how do I want to hit this guy? Do I want to use my shoulder or do I want to use my head? And everyone who plays football knows if you're going to use your head to make a tackle, then you keep your head out. Everyone knows that. But I made the decision that I was going to use my shoulder to make the tackle. But my teammate actually got to the guy before I did. So I'm running down the field saying, all right, I'm about to use my shoulder. My teammate tripped the guy up. And when Malcolm got tripped up.
Malcolm Brown.
Yep,
for Army.
He got tripped up and turned. And my head went down thinking I was going to hit him with my shoulder. But it ended up hitting him right in the back of his shoulder blade, and that's what caused the injury right there because my neck had nowhere to pretty much flex to. So he ended up breaking his collarbone on the plane. I broke my neck. What did you know right away? Right away, I knew I couldn't breathe. That was the scariest part. I felt like I got the wind knocked out of me. And I remember I knew it was a big hit, so at first I tried to get up to celebrate. But all I had at the time was this. That's all I could do. And I couldn't breathe. So that's what made me real nervous because the trainers they knew it was a big hit, so they were out there within seconds. And they said, is it your head or is it your neck? And all I was like, I can't breathe. They're like, can you feel this? Can you feel that? And I'm just like, I can't breathe. That's all I could get out at the time, and that was the scariest moment of my life.
Yeah. So pretty quickly, when they take you to the hospital, they tell you that your arms?
They said, yeah, they told me pretty much, well, they told my mom, because I was completely delirious, not knowing what was going on, and they had me on so many medications and pain medications. I remember getting to the hospital and seeing a bunch of lights, and then I remember blacking out, and I woke up again, and I remember being in a room with a bunch of doctors, but it sounded like they were speaking a different language. I had no idea what was going on. I remember blacking out again, and I woke up and I was in that same room now, but I was by myself with a bunch of monitors going off. But the doctors had told my mom right before surgery that I fractured my C3, C4 vertebrae, and I'll be paralyzed from the neck down for the rest of my life. I'll be on a ventilator for the rest of my life, never eat any solid foods, be on a feeding tube for the rest of my life, and also never walk again.
So, it's always been so amazing to me about you from a distance. And so many of us who are Rutgers people, graduates, and then those who are not Rutgers people, just admirers of yours. One of the things that's always struck me about you and if I'm wrong, you'll tell me, is what I've perceived to be from day one. And by the way, go back to Malcolm Brown.
Malcolm Brown.
You've never blamed him.
Oh no, never blame Malcolm.
No negative feeling.
No animosity built up or anything. He was the one running the ball. I was the one who made the tackle. He was just doing his job, and I was trying to do my job to make a tackle. So there's no animosity built up at all.
But here's the bigger thing that's always been interesting to me. I've never heard you say publicly, and anyone who's known you that I know has ever said they've never heard you say why me. Never be publicly complaining about it. What do I have wrong here? And help us understand where all this comes from.
Since not publicly or when I'm private, I never say why me. Like
from day one?
From day one, pretty much, because when I finally came to off all those medications and stuff, it was Wednesday. It was a few days after the injury. And I didn't know what was going on at first. I knew
Wednesday after the Saturday?
Yeah, after the Saturday, I was completely.
Because Saturday game, Wednesday. Go ahead.
I don't remember anything until Wednesday. But when I woke up on Wednesday, there was just so many people around me. There was signed helmets, jerseys, balls. People reaching out to me, and then all my friends coming up. People I haven't seen in years. I was like, it's kind of cool seeing everybody again. Like I said, at the time I didn't know what had happened. So I'm like, this is nice. And all of a sudden, you got Tom Coughlin from the Giants coming to visit you. You got
Coach of the Giants.
Exactly. Andy Reid was with the Eagles at the time. He coming up to see you. And at first, I'm like, I didn't know that I was, paralyzed. So I'm like, this is great. They're going to know who I am now. I'm going to get out the hospital, get back out there on the field. They're going to know exactly where I am playing. So at that time, it was easy for me to deal with. And then all the positive energy around the room, even though as a few days went along, I kind of realized then what had happened. But everything was just so positive around me. And then once I left, and I got to experience different things now over these past 5 years, seeing the situations that people are living in and how blessed and how fortunate I am, I don't say why. I mean, it's crazy to even say that, the situations that I see on a daily basis of people in rehab that just go to rehab and then they go home or can't even get out of that one-bedroom apartment in the middle, of in an urban city. People like that, because the elevator's not working, stuff like that makes you realize, wow, I'm truly blessed. I have my own transportation with my van. I have a nice two-floor house where I can just get up in the elevator, get up and down. I got a ramp in the front I can get down at, a flat surface in the back to get out at. I got pretty much my own balcony. Even it makes me put a lot of things into perspective.
You're fortunate.
Yes, I'm very fortunate.
You're blessed.
Yes.
Where did your attitude come from?
I've always had a positive attitude my whole life. I was always one of those upbeat guys that, love to make people laugh. Like, I was the one who likes to make you smile. Everyone knew when I came in the room, if anything bad was going on, I'm coming in there with a ball of energy, always. That was always me. That's the person I've always been. And in this injury, that's one thing I wasn't going to let it change me. I knew I was going to have a long road ahead of me where I said to myself, I'm not going to let this change the person I am just because I'm in a wheelchair now.
Who were the closest people to you?
My mom, of course.
What was she like? Describe it.
My mom in the beginning, it was hard for her. She was, a mess. I'm not going to lie to you in the beginning. It was tough for her to see her son, at the time, 20-year-old son.
20.
At the time, having to go through what I was going through, I was living my dream playing college football, a year and a half away from trying to make my dream come true playing in the NFL. And
that was your dream, playing in the NFL?
Exactly. And now I got my mom, she's just sitting there like, wow. I got to learn how to take care of him now. And she dedicated her whole life to that, and she did a tremendous job. Stayed with me at Kessler over in West Orange, New Jersey for 5 months on a little pull-out cot where
Kessler rehab.
Yep, where her back is all messed up now from sleeping on it for 5 months. But she's
on a cot.
On a little pull-out cot. You should have seen this thing. It was pretty terrible. But my mom did whatever she needed to do to learn how to take care of me, and she dedicated her life to pretty much taking care of me. And that's why. I want to hopefully find a cure for paralysis one day so I can take care of myself and she can get back to
talk about that.
Living her life.
You talk about your own goals moving forward. I know that being a broadcaster is part of it, but talk about the other goals you have for helping others.
Yeah, so I formed my foundation, Team LeGrand of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation.
Team LeGrand.
Of the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation.
Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation.
Yep, the original Superman, Christopher Reeve. And, unfortunately, he passed away now about 11 years ago, and his goal was to have a world with empty wheelchairs by finding a cure for paralysis. And I kind of took over that torch, I feel like now, being a face of spinal cord injuries. And I I want to, you know, live up to that, you know, his expectations and keep on raising money and awareness so we can get these, you know, clinical trials going.
I'm sorry for interrupting, Eric. You are you see yourself, and you are, for many, the face of spinal cord injuries. What does that mean to you?
I mean, I take it on as a responsibility. There's so many people who wish that they could be sitting here with you and I right now, having an interview, sharing their story, but it's me. I'm the one sitting here talking. It's not only for me, but it's for the 5.6 million people that are dealing with some type of paralysis out there. And, you know, because when we work with a foundation like the Christopher and Anna Reed Foundation and all these other people working with it, whether it be epidural stimulation or if it's stem cells, it gives people like me hope. The only thing we have to raise now is the funds so we can get those trials going and, you know, test things out so we can see if there will be a cure down the road. And we are getting closer and closer, like I said, but we just got to keep on funding things.
Eric, describe the journey as best you can. The public television provides more time than most, but at the same time, we'll never do justice, not even close to the journey. Describe just a little bit of where you were and where you are today.
It's crazy to say, it's been nothing but positive things that have happened to me since my injury. Been able to still graduate from Rutgers to get my degree in labor relations.
Hold on, you didn't graduate on time.
I started classes back in January of 2011, so
But hold on, you started
I started classes
January 2011.
I got hurt
You didn't take much time.
I didn't take much. I just took off that semester from the time I got hurt. And I started taking classes via Skype. I took one class at a time for a little bit, and I had to learn how to speak to Dragon, natural speaking on the computer, so I could, instead of typing out a paper, I had to talk it out. Yep, graduated, and you know that was a big moment. That moment was huge. You know, there's something that I always wanted to get that diploma on the wall for my mom. You know?
Why?
Because my mom she raised two. I had my sister who's 36, and then she had me. My sister graduated from North Carolina A&T. And she always said that she wanted her kids to go to college. And of course, my sister's a few years older than me, so she got it done before me. So even though I got hurt, I'm like, you know, I'm really going to need this degree now since I'm not going to be playing football. I'm definitely got to finish off. And that's what I did. And, you know, it took me 2 extra years, but got the job done. And that day, I'll never forget going up there and being able to address that crowd out there.
What'd you say? Do you remember?
Hell yeah, I shared to them my story. You know, tell them you have to be appreciative for things in life. There's going to be a lot of adversity that you face in life, but don't ever let that adversity hold you back. It's how you handle that adversity which ultimately defines us as people. And, you know, I'm dealing with it all the time, and I'm telling them if I can do this, I can do that, then why can't any of you do it? There's no excuses.
Do you have much patience for, I'm wondering also, Eric, the degree to which people even complain to you or express their complaints to you? Do you have much patience for people who complain about whatever it is they complain about that seems pretty ridiculous?
It's actually funny. I don't have much patience in life, but when it comes to people complaining, I do actually, you know, have patience for it because I understand that as a human race, that's what happens. You know, anything goes wrong, that's when people start complaining. You know, things like that. And I always try to tell people, you know, when people ask me for advice, I'm like, just think about how fortunate you are, what you do have, and don't focus on the things that you don't have.
You do say that, though?
And if you want something you want, then you work your butt off to go get it. I know we're going to complain about traffic, complain about sitting in lines at Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, something like that. You know, that's just the human race in us. That's what's going to happen. Yeah. But then when you put things into perspective and really look how bad your situation is compared to something else, and you're like, oh, maybe it's not as bad as I thought.
We have Erice LeGrand. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks, Eric.
To see more one-on-one with Steve Adubato programs, visit us online at steveadubato.org. If you would like to express an opinion, email us at info@caucusnj.org. Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Steve Adubato PhD and follow us on Twitter at Steve Adubato.
We have Erice LeGrand, a proud son of Rutgers University. Number 52.
Number 52.
Retired?
It is retired.
It is retired.
It is retired. That feel, I'll tell you what.
Describe that.
My number being in the birthplace of college football where it all started.
Princeton Rutgers first game.
Exactly, and then my number is the one who retired. Out of all the people that have played since the 1800s, my number is retired.
Wow.
It's a pretty surreal feeling.
First in 144 years.
Exactly. You drive down Route 18 and you can see the stadium, and then at bright at night, number 52 shines. Like, wow, it's pretty incredible feeling. It's just all the hard work that I put into playing the game for the 15 years that I got to play. The attitude that I try to have now, and and be a role model for people. So I hope that's what they see with it.
Eric, talk a little bit about football itself. What drew you to football? What keeps you drawn to football, given how violent a sport it is, and who am I to tell you how violent it is? I was a place kicker in high school and in college, so how would I know? Go ahead.
So you want to talk about violent? It all started with playing kill the man with the ball on the side of my house.
Hold on. I'm not going to let you get past it. Kill the man
with the ball. When I was 4 years old, I had three friends. Two of them were the same age as me.
Get out of here.
And on the side of my house.
Where'd you grow up?
In Avondale, New Jersey, part of Woodbridge Township. So there was two kids the same age as me, and there was one kid that was 5 years older than us, Charlie.
How rough?
And he was rough.
Charlie was rough?
He didn't play any games with us. He'll throw us into the fence, into the wall, all of that. But one time, I remember when I was 4, it was like our second time ever playing, I was able to juke him out and get to the end zone without him tackling me.
Oh, you were on offense?
I was on offense with the ball, and I was able to get past my first two friends because they were like my size, and then I got past Tim somehow with a juke, and I scored, and I was like, kind of like this game. And my mom said she always wanted to get me into athletics. And my friend Doug, who was playing with us at the time, his mom was signing him up for the Port Reading Saints. And my mom was like, okay, I'll sign you up too. And then it went from there.
Did you love it immediately?
But
how about the violence? How about the contact?
It is a contact sport.
But for you, did you love that?
I did, because I'm actually old school when it comes to contact. I like the blindside hits, knocking people out.
Really?
That's me. I love that kind of game. But I do understand now with the effects of that's going on with the game. What
do you have to say about that?
I think the league is doing a great job with it. I actually, bow my head to it. I'm tipping my cap.
Talk about that. I mean, the league trying to change. You cannot use your helmet. You cannot do that as a weapon. You see, do you feel the league's doing enough?
I think they're doing. It's a violent game. You can only do so much. I think the league is doing enough. When it comes to these concussion protocols, and now with the new helmets and the advances they're coming up with that.
And protecting on the inside.
Yeah, it's a violent game. Every football player knows the risk that they take when you strap up that helmet.
Do they?
It says it right on your warning sign. I'll never forget. My head coach Ben LaSalle in high school would read that before every training camp. Before we started every training camp, he says, before you put your helmet on, we're going to read this warning sign, and we read the warning sign of what could actually happen to you playing this game.
Speak about, I'm going to talk about broadcasting in a second, but I want to ask you about Greg Schiano. Greg Schiano was your coach at the time at Rutgers. He went on to coach for, I believe, the Buccaneers in the NFL. We will not talk about his one-loss record in the NFL, but he's a winner with you.
He is.
Because?
Coach Schiano, he told us as we were recruits, he treats all his players like they're his kids, and nothing stood out.
How did he treat you?
More than that, when I got hurt. I remember my mom telling me how he was in the hospital room right after the game, on the phone with every doctor, nurse, whatever it was, in the state, making sure I was in the right spot at Hackensack at the time, making sure that I was getting, had the best surgeon coming in to do my my surgery on my neck. Then after that, when I got to Kessler, he made sure I was taken care of there, had my flat screen TV brought in, had a satellite dish installed on top of the building.
So you can see all the games.
So I can see all the games and watch for the rest of that at that time of the season, and I'll of course be able to watch cable while my time there, or my Xbox up with it. And in the beginning, when I was he made sure that I was never alone. There was always somebody there. Either to relieve my mom, I had my academic advisors there, or if I had a weight room coach there, there was just someone always there.
Your coach did that?
My coach did all of that. He set that all day, set up a whole system for me. I had my own waiting room over there because there was a lot of people coming to see me.
Why do you think he did that?
Because he's a man of his words. When I committed to him when I was a 16-year-old kid in high school, he said, I'm taking this as you give me your word, and men give their words, and they don't go back on their words. So right there, that was my first lesson in understanding that men keep their words.
What does loyalty mean to you?
Loyalty is everything. Loyalty, you gain respect by loyalty. Loyalty is just being consistently coming through when you say that you're supposed to do something. You do what you're supposed to do when you're supposed to do it.
Were you always old school?
Kind of, yeah, kind of old school generation. This kid, you think nowadays with all the technology going on, I'm like the kid that goes to the park and plays basketball, gets his jeans dirty, rips his jeans playing defense, and that's always been me. I'm the type of old school guy. I would say my
Born
generation.
at the wrong time, you know.
I say my generation is a little bit the last of that before we got
Yeah.
all into technology. But now it's crazy now.
You're only 25.
Nowadays. 25.
You feel older?
I always say I feel old. I always say I feel
Older.
old. And everyone always comes at me, I'm like, you're a little baby, 25. I'm like, man, gotta do 25 years.
Talk to me about broadcasting.
I love it. I always wanted to get into it before after I got done with my football career. I thought I would go to the NFL, retire, become a sports broadcaster, but I love being a part of it, breaking down the game of football, being in people's eyes on the radio, being able to explain the game from a perspective that I know from playing it, just a few years ago.
Talk to me about the radio. Where is that?
I'm this is my 5th year now working with Rutgers Radio. I'm really enjoying that. I have actually, this is my 2nd year co-hosting this show on Sirius XM about all of college football. I do appearances with the Big Ten, and I work with ESPN on their college football podcast.
What do you love about
once a week. I love being able to, like I said, give a different perspective from some of the analysts that are now. A lot of people haven't played in years and years. I was just out there 5 years ago playing the game, and the game is always evolving. And the things that I always see now, I think I have a bird's eye view of what's going on out there, and I love to be able to give that perspective to the crowd. And it's always fun when especially watching those Rutgers games, when you get to see them win. It's always a good time.
Your message to young men and women out there. Forget about sports. Nothing to do with sports. But tempted to give up on themselves. Not a lot of faith, confidence in themselves. Don't believe that they can do whatever it is they say or think they want to do. You say to them?
I tell them, first you got to believe in yourself. You got to love yourself. You have to love yourself no matter what. You cannot let anything get you down or destroy you from what your goal is in life. If you really have the goal in your life, you're going to face adversity. You're going to have doubts and people telling you can't do this or you can't do that. That's all the negative air that creeps in. You can't let that get to you. I'm the type of person I live with my life. It's you can't do that. No, why are you going to do this? You can't go there. Now I'm like, watch me do it. Watch me do it. I try to put that same energy into other people that may have doubts. You only need one person to believe that you can do it, and that's yourself. And if you want to go out there, whatever it is that may seem astronomical out there, that so far-fetched that somebody tells you that you can't do it, just go out there and prove them wrong. I love to try to prove people wrong with that. And
You love to prove people wrong?
It's a good feeling. It's not one of those, I proved you wrong. It's just that satisfaction knowing, look, I did this because you didn't think that I could do it, and watch where I can go from here. And that's how you get people to believe.
God a part of it?
God is always a part of it. God is there all the time. I pray to Him every night. I always thank Him first for what He's given me, and then I praise Him and asking Him, of course, for a miracle so I can walk again, things like that. But
say that again. You pray that.
I pray that I'm going to walk again. I pray that we find a cure to walk again. I pray that not only I walk again, but millions of other people walk again. It's not just me. This is a whole team effort. So I truly pray.
You ever get mad at Him?
No,
Never.
There's no reason to get mad at God. Are you kidding me? That's God. He's the one who controls everything. I know He puts us.
He controls this?
He can control this, and this is why I'm as healthy as I am today, because I could be stuck on a ventilator, bedridden right now, but I'm not. I'm here talking with you.
I've asked this question of literally hundreds of people, but asking you is probably one of the most significant times I've had to ask this question. The biggest lesson you've learned about leadership is, the biggest leadership lesson is?
Being able to do it yourself. You have to be able to, if you're going to lead people, you got to be able to hold yourself up to those standards and even higher, and prove to those people that I'm in this battle with you. Let's do it, either if you're doing it together or if you have to go off and do something on your own. You have to be able to prove it to people that you can lead them. Because people, if you can't do it and you're all talk about it, I'm like, why am I going to follow him? Why am I going to lead him? You got to be able to lead them by going, like when on days I don't want to go to therapy, I'm still in there, I'm grinding away because I know people are looking up to me. 5 years in, I could have gave up a long time ago. Or if I'm giving a speech doing this or preparing for a football game, you got to be able to show that you can do it. And then people are, oh yeah, maybe I should follow him, maybe I should believe him. I do believe in him, so It's all about proving yourself.
A lot of people talk the talk.
Exactly.
The rest of it.
Gotta walk the walk. You gotta walk the walk. That's what it's all about. Is that show me, don't tell me. So
Show me, don't tell me.
That's what I learned. I'm telling you, Coach, I'm giving you a bunch of Coach Schiano quotes right there.
Say it again.
Show me, don't tell me.
Yeah. You gonna walk one day?
I truly believe I will.
You believe that?
I truly believe in my lifetime I will.
Well, we believe in you as well. And I also know for sure, Erice LeGrand, that you helped a lot of people.
Thank you.
Erice LeGrand, I think you're my new favorite interview of all time.
I appreciate
That's saying a lot
that.
for 29 years this. You honor us.
That means a lot to me, so thank you very much. Keep on believing.
One-on-One with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation.